The xParticleSprite object lets you generate objects similar to the generator. However, rather than adding your own objects as a child, the Sprite object has a preset list. In this scene, we've got an emitter emitting 10 particles per second. Let's add a Sprite object and drop the emitter in the emitter link. As you can see, it's instantly generating cubes. These are the default type. If I push play, you'll see the cubes generated. The draw mode, as normal, is set to geometry only. You can have that with particles only, geometry and particles, or just geometry at render only. Let's leave it at the default. Scale is the option using the scale from the particle emitter, and at default is set to scale. We're going to change this to radius, as in our emitter we have our radius set to 5 with a variation of 5. That gives us a variation in our particle size. Go back to the Sprite object and we have the Sprite Type link. In this type we can choose cube, cross, place card, sphere, cylinder, capsule, cone, pyramid, disc, and so on. These are all based on Cinema 4D standard generated objects. Some of them are slightly custom for xParticles, such as the cross. If we push play, you'll see a cross object. Place card is a simple plane. These can be used for your own sprites when set to look at camera. 3 plane is similar to plane, but has 3 planes joined together to form a cross. The light object has a lot of controls over how you generate lights. If I push play, you'll see these are renderable, and you have various options for their visibility, adding noise, the illumination fall-offs, etc. The color is derived directly from the emitter. If we change our color display to gradient, and we'll just load up a preset. If we push play, you'll see the colors change over time based on the gradient. And again, these will render as you see in the viewport. Let's go back to the default single color. Moving down, we also have points, and points are a single vertex, and you won't see these, they're very small, but these can be used with meshing such as Skinner or metaballs. Point clouds. Text gives you text objects which you have a lot of control over what exactly they're doing. One thing I'm going to do by default is change the mirror axis to H. That way they're facing me. As you can see, they're changing. You can change that from alphabet mode to numbers, alphabet numbers, user defined text, user text to numbers, and from random to sequential. There's a lot of control over exactly what your text objects are doing and how they look. You can change their height and their depth to give you more options of what they're doing. And the last one to look at is Rubble. Rubble gives you an object that gives you control over looking like Rubble objects. You have a type, and various types give you various different shapes, or you can choose random and it'll just randomly generate. You can subdivide them and use smooth subdivisions, and again smooth the rubble even more, and control over the minimum scales and maximum scales and the deformation within each object. This is a good way for explosions where you need an extra level of detail in the rubble.